In the most recent Balloons update, they added the Ace Paragon, and within the same update notes, they said that they were going to be adding the Wizard Paragon next up. And that got me thinking, because of course, if you couldn't tell, Wizard Monkey is pretty blatantly my favorite monkey in the game. And of course, Paragons have been getting much more stylized and unique ever since they were first introduced, so this started to make me think, what would the Wizard Paragon ideally look like and function like? And as well, how can the pre-existing Paragons be updated to be a bit more in line with the newer models? But first, we're going to talk about the Wizard Paragon. Now, funnily enough, Ninja Kiwi pretty much already has the Wizard Paragon in-game in the form of Archmage, because he already has the abilities of the other two paths for the Wizard, but that aside, it's actually kind of hard to think of a theoretical way to combine all 5 paths with this guy, because to be honest, there's some parts that you just don't really know what to do with. For example, Wall of Fire. How do you upgrade Wall of Fire? I mean, you could just make it stronger, or just make more of them, but that'd be just kinda silly. However, I think I know what to do with some of the other parts of the tower, starting from the bottom up. The Necromancer has a pretty clear path to me, and first of all, I think it'd be very cool if the Shimmer ability could actually be permanent. And stats-wise, this wouldn't be anything special, but simply when a balloon enters its radius, it's decamoed, no matter what. And if you really want to get spicy, perhaps it could also be defortification or something of the sort, but that may be a bit too spicy. And as for zombies, well, I think it'd be pretty cool if they would summon zombies UMGs, because, I mean, why not? We're already upgrading abilities, why not just make it just a step higher? Or even DDTs. Now, DDTs would be kind of hard to balance because theoretically they would just be like kamikazes into the balloons, and that might not be balanced, but entirely depends on how much damage they do. Which, speaking of damage, I imagine that the damage it does now would probably be tripled or even quadrupled. And on top of that, perhaps an extension to the graveyard count so you can have more zombies summoned all at once, which would actually pair pretty nicely with the DDTs, because assuming the DDTs would consume a fair amount of graveyard, then that'd be a pretty good mechanic, I suppose. And then moving up, we have the Wizard Lord Phoenix, and to be honest, I don't really have much to say for this one. I mean, I think it'd be a good idea to make the Phoenix permanent, because, you know, that'd at least implement the ability, but to be honest, I don't know how you make the ability stronger. Like, you could make it homing, but then at that point you might as well just use Etienne, right? Well, at any rate, one thing that they could definitely do, however, is up the damage of Dragon's Breath, because Dragon's Breath is, of course, going to be included in this. Now, I'm not really sure how much to increase the damage by, but let's just say, for the sake of simplicity, triple. Oh, and let's not forget, the Phoenix would probably use a cosmetic upgrade too, something like this. And then last and least, the primary attack. To be honest, I don't really know where to go from here. Like, I know I've said that about the middle path too, but this one I'm truly stumped. Yes, we can increase the damage and we can make it cosmetically different, but like, where do we really go realistically from what is already pretty much a paragon of a tower? Although, if anything, just for a little bit of flair, it'd be nice to have a bit more of an ethereal color, you know, just because Paragon. And as for the ability for this Paragon, I was thinking that perhaps it could be an ability that makes all balloons within its radius into a zombie. Well, of course, only applying to the ones that can be turned into a zombie, when turn bads or bosses into a zombie. Nothing complex, and probably have a fairly long cooldown, because this would theoretically be pretty OP, but I just think it's a cool idea as opposed to just making the Wizard Lord Phoenix stronger or something like that. And probably the least important, but yet my personal favorite part of this, what would he look like? Now, of course, this video stuck with a pretty obvious design, a black cloak, you know, as in from the Necromancer, a crown to imply, you know, he's a big boy. Also for style factor, his scepter has a meteor ball with an ethereal light, which is, of course, being held by an eagle's claw with a very creepy looking handle. And of course, he's old, like the Archmage. Although some other ideas that I've had at one point or there includes a skeleton hand, a bird mask, and perhaps just going with the original Archmage design of putting a hat onto his hoodie. Although, to be honest, I personally don't think that looks very good, but it'd just be a callback. And that's just a little theoretical about what the Wizard Paragon could be in the next update. Of course, anything said or depicted here isn't, anything final or even really anything related to Ninja Kiwi itself. It's just more of so a thought experiment. Just a little fun thing to do while we wait for the next Boons update. And of course, with all that said, that's pretty much all I have to say. If you're interested, I have a Discord and Twitter that I'll link in the description, but with that said, I do believe I'll bid you all farewell.